I just realized that both of us have Pepsi on us. I mean, we need all the energy we can get for these afternoon pay-per-views. Crown Jewel 2023. Tomas and I revoked our rule that we would not talk about the Saudi pay-per-views last May when we did Night of Champions. Crown Jewel is WWE canon. And this was, okay. Do you think this was the weakest pay-per-view under the Triple H regime so far?
This has been the
Not
weakest
just me.
pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm saying by match quality, by storyline quality, this was not a bad pay-per-view. Let's get that out of the way right now. This was
not
still
at
a
all.
very solid night or day for us, morning of wrestling for us. I feel like the Saudi shows do come through, but I don't think they ever come through on like the scale of other WWE pay-per-views. I enjoyed this show. I enjoyed a lot of the surprises we got here. A lot of kind of out of corner, kind of taken by surprise by some of the things that happened on the show.
Same.
Things I definitely was not expecting. More on the storyline side of things. Like the wrestling was good, but a lot of these matches were decent to good. There was one great match on the show.
Yes.
Everything else was, nothing you could have seen on Raw or SmackDown, but I feel like Triple H focusing more on the storyline, the story, aspect of some of these matches really fed into what these matches are supposed to, to be. But
I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah, Crown Jewel. And let me tell you, I kind of lucked out with this one. I did have to work today, but I worked at 5:30 in the morning and I was off at 10. So I was able to clock out, book at home, and start the pay-per-view like 20, 25 minutes in. So yeah, I was able to I'm done with the pay-per-view. I'm glad to get it out of the way. So that really worked out for me.
Yep. I was on the live feed. I was watching it, at 10 o'clock sharp. I was a match ahead of Tomas, so it was really hard for me not to spoil shit that went down. But I mean, it didn't stop me from joking around with him all afternoon. But this was, I mean, again, just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, Triple H has not had one terrible pay-per-view under his creative control. Let me just say that much. Crown Jewel 2023 is still a good show, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere near Clash at the Castle or Extreme Rules of last year.
Or
Backlash. Yeah, even that. The reason why last fall was so great for WWE when it usually isn't is because Triple H was just promoted into the head of creative role. So he had to prove a point that he was there to stay.
He also was left in the middle of a bunch of Vince McMahon storylines that he kind of had to either end or just like, okay, how can I turn this into something good?
But yeah, no, this fall, it's felt a lot more normal than it usually is for WWE. Like, not saying that the content has been bad whatsoever, not nearly as bad as it would have been if Vince was in charge, but Payback, Fastlane, and Crown Jewel, I feel like have all been on the same wavelength of quality. You know what I mean? Like,
I would rather have an underwhelming pay-per-view over something that is terrible or boring. Because when something is terrible, you at least have something to talk about. If you have something that's boring, like say, for example, Hell in a Cell 2021, the pay-per-view right before fans came back, and you just have a bunch of like, going through the motion type of matches, nothing really to write home about. That's a lot harder to sit through than say something that's just really bad. But no, I thought this was I think this was good. I don't want to say it was decent. I think it was better than decent. I thought it was good. And we are opening up in a really big way. We did have a pre-show match that I wasn't able to catch. Sami Zayn defeated JD McDonagh in a pre-show match. Kind of odd that Sami Zayn making his great comeback to Saudi Arabia at the last pay-per-view has been relegated to the pre-show. I know he's trying to find his footing after Kevin Owens got traded to SmackDown. Yes, Kevin Owens was revealed as the big trade to SmackDown in exchange for Jey Uso. So they're playing around with some story elements here. Sami Zayn wants to go off on his own, prove himself as a single star, and he has made it his goal to take down the Judgment Day by himself. A little odd when you think about it. When he had Kevin Owens, shouldn't have that has been his goal then, when he had some help in that regard. But this, what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when Frankie Kazarian became the Elite Hunter in AEW, how he made it his goal to take down the Elite after they retired Christopher Daniels and they forced SCU to not be a team anymore.
which is awesome. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's a really good tie-in right there. Frankie Kazarian's actually going to come wrestle at an indie show in a few weeks for us in the Bay Area. Very excited to see him. But Sami Zayn, yeah, very much like a hitman in the sense going after the Judgment Day on his own. Even though he very much could have help with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, he wrestles a pretty simple match against JD McDonagh. I was able to catch all of it. And surprisingly enough, Tomas, you're not going to believe this, but Sami Zayn actually pinned JD with the Blue Thunder Bomb, which he never does. Like
I know a couple of YouTubers that would be very happy about that.
Yeah, he hit JD with a haluva kick and then segued it into the Blue Thunder Bomb, and he pinned him. You know, it was the crowd was very hot, very into Sami Zayn. They absolutely loved everything he did. JD kind of got a quiet-ish response, but he was a solid, formidable opponent for Sami. There was a spot where JD almost landed right on his fucking head off of a backdrop, but I don't know what it was.
Let me tell you something real quick. Since they have done the draft and since they have done some NXT call-ups, which I use that in quotations because most of these people that have been called up, they've been right back to NXT like 3 weeks later, Indy Hartwell, or they're doing absolutely nothing with them, Apollo Crews. But JD McDonagh, they have inserted him into this Judgment Day role, which I think is perfect for him. And I feel like every single week they put him in these matches, and he's a solid guy.
Yeah.
He's an amazing seller. He's tearing it up with Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre. They're not just putting him in the ring with just anybody. They're putting him in the ring with main event talent. Jey Uso. It's really cool to see JD McDonagh kind of like become a name. He's becoming a name on Raw right now. And I think you couldn't have done any better with him.
He is Finn Balor's pupil, and he's also Finn Balor's Irish ace in the hole, if you will. You know, like anytime Finn Balor doesn't want to go and do the Judgment Day's work himself, then he sticks JD McDonagh on his adversaries, which I think is really smart. And again,
JD McDonagh, the unofficial next member of Judgment Day, he's like trying to audition for them, but Ripley's kind of about him. Dom doesn't really like him. Priest doesn't really like him, and Finn Balor's the only one that's really stepping up to the plate for him.
Yeah, because he trained him.
It's a very interesting subplot on Raw right now, and I'm really enjoying it like a lot.
Triple H, it's layers of storytelling, and I really love it so much. That's why I love his creative. But yeah, Sami Zayn beats him. Pretty simple match, solid enough for the talent involved, but it was right to put Sami over and get him back on track as a singles guy.
But the main show opens up in a huge way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth freaking Rollins defending against the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre. And you talk about story arcs. This is probably the best story arc going on Monday Night Raw right now.
Yes.
McIntyre is having an internal battle with himself ever since he returned after failing to defeat Gunther for the Intercontinental title. He's been having some like moral debates with himself. Like he's not being the hero that we've all come to know and love. He left Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to get attacked by Ivar. He left Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso to get attacked by the Judgment Day. And with that, he is focusing on himself, and he wants to challenge Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's starting to kind of victim blame himself, saying that he won the WWE Championship when there was no fans there. He never got his moments, starting to be a little selfish with himself. And on top of that, Rhea Ripley is trying to recruit him into the Judgment Day, trying to get him to see their ways. And McIntyre is doing this excellent thing where he's not quite a babyface, but he's not quite a heel either. It's very reminiscent of AJ Styles back in 2013 doing the evil ways thing. Maybe not so
the lone wolf almost. He's a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Doesn't need anybody to help him.
No, it's not as on the nose as what Styles is doing, but I love what McIntyre is doing because he's still very over with the crowd. He's still like, not really siding with the heels, but Seth Rollins came out and cut an excellent promo on him the week prior. I feel like WWE is finally getting comfortable in talking about the pandemic as a thing of the past, what they had to deal with. At first, it was like, no, we don't talk about the PC days. We don't talk about the Thunderdome days. We want to put that. But I do think enough time has passed where we can start casually bringing it back into the media and not without depressing everyone to hell and back.
Well, you also got to remember who's writing this show now. If this were Vince McMahon, once again, I hate to keep going back to this, but he would just pretend like nothing was going on.
Vince was very tight-lipped about real-life events.
Triple H is not here to insult the audience's intelligence. He's here to tell a story. And Drew McIntyre is here to tell a story. Now, going into this match, this was probably the biggest coin flip in terms of predictions. I was adamant that Seth Rollins should retain because Drew McIntyre has still not signed a new contract with World Wrestling Entertainment yet. I think it would be very risky for them while they're still in the middle of negotiations to put the belt on this guy. Even though it's not a knock on Drew at all, Drew McIntyre is the single best character in the company right now because of everything you just said. Drew McIntyre, his motivations, his promos have been skyrocket high as of late. I've been loving what he was doing, and I'm so happy to see him back on top.
Even though this is technically a babyface match, Rollins deflects on him perfectly in his promo, saying that, oh, boo-hoo, you didn't win a championship in front of a crowd. Well, we had people that didn't know when they were going to get their next set of groceries. There were people that didn't know if they were going to see their loved ones anymore. There were some people that never saw their loved one again. So sorry that I'm not giving you sympathy when there are people that had it way worse than you. And it was such an injection of real life that they put into the story that really it blurred the lines. Like, you knew that Rollins was the true face in this situation, while McIntyre, he's going through such a development right now, which is so freaking fun to watch. You talk about McIntyre's contract negotiations, and I love how they're like weaving the story around it to make everything seem so like not set in stone. But here's the thing, and I've been hearing people talk about this. I do not want to see Drew McIntyre go to AEW.
No.
I want him to stay
in
WWE, where he can continue to develop. They can continue to put character on him. And what he's doing on television is actually of substance right now. Yeah. I want to continue seeing that. And I do think you will see a world title around McIntyre's waist again in the future. Mm-hmm. And I know at the end of the day, it's up to McIntyre. It's not up to us. I want McIntyre to do what makes him happy. But I really hate to make this comparison. But you look at the substance that Drew McIntyre has in WWE right now, compared to Adam Copeland in AEW right now, which a lot of people have been saying just feels like another guy on the roster.
I mean, even then, Adam Copeland's whole storyline with Christian Cage and AEW is my favorite thing going on that side right now. But, it's Drew McIntyre, like, if he defected after his contract expired, TK wouldn't know what to do with him. But if he stays home, if he stays with Hunter, like, he can continue delving into this character work. But again, not up to us. Yeah. It's ultimately up to Drew. It's ultimately up to what makes him happy and what makes him
I just feel
stable.
Like if McIntyre jumped ship to AEW, he would get a good pop. They would probably put him in the ring with whoever the world champion is, like 2 months in. He would lose that championship, and then he'd be, I don't know, I hate to be this blunt, but he'd be fucking teaming with Dustin Rhodes on Collision. Like, they wouldn't know what to do with him. And they would call them the natural Scottish psychopaths or something like that. Something like that. I don't know.
I don't want to think about random tag teams right now, but in any case,
I hate to delve into that subject right now, but it's just it's the subject of where Drew McIntyre is going to go. But
Drew and Dustin,
excuse me,
Drew and Dustin, that would be a funny tag team. But
McIntyre and Rollins have an excellent match to start this show. These two click so well, and I'm glad we got this match here, and they brought this up during commentary. Speaking of the pandemic, the last time that these two faced off was at Money in the Bank 2020, where McIntyre had just won the championship and he defended against Rollins, which I loved that match, by the way. And now that we actually got it proper in front of 40,000 people here in Saudi Arabia, it was such a fun match. I don't want to bury the lead now, but this was my match of the night.
It absolutely was. And it's sad because it's the opener. I'm totally with you. Seth and Drew go out there, and it's weird because the crowd oddly seems in favor of Drew winning this title. This crowd was singing Seth's song like everybody does, but it felt like it was more 65-35 in favor of McIntyre. It was a very odd, crowd dynamic to start off the show because,
I really think it's because of the arc he's going through right now. It's the most interesting thing to watch, and I feel like a lot of people watching this arc sympathize with him. He's getting a lot of good, sympathy from the crowd. And I hate to tell everyone this now. I love that he's giving that sympathy. I love that this arc is getting him over, but it's going to be that much more heartbreaking when they pull the trigger and he does turn heel, because that's what I failed to mention. That's what this is all leading to. Drew McIntyre is a pressure cooker right now. And the more things that happen to him, the pressure's going to build. He's just going to explode. And I feel bad for the babyface he's going to explode on.
Oh, it's probably going to be Seth, but they also weave in story elements from Seth's title reign so far so perfectly into the storyline. They're integrating the Judgment Day into the mix. Seth had a great program with Finn Balor over the summer. They're integrating Seth Rollins' back injury that was put into the equation when he feuded with Nakamura. Drew was hyper laser focused on Seth Rollins' back, and he did not care what it took to get him the world title. If that meant going after Seth Rollins' injured back, he was going to do it. And
yeah, there was some excellent spots in this match. Rollins goes for a suicide dive, and McIntyre turns it into a belly to belly on the outside. These two clicked so well together, and it was the Claymore versus the curb stomp. They teased it they teased it in this match, but not enough that it was overkill. They didn't hit like 4 or 5 Claymores and curb stomps on each other. Like, it was very it was the move they were both trying to avoid. And you talk about Rollins and AJ Styles being a human chess match. This was like human Battleship.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You hit one part of the person's ship. It's a hit. They miss. You could sink the ship at any time. Yeah, that's a really good analogy there. You're always bringing board games into Seth Rollins' matches. Just don't mention football around Seth Rollins right now.
No,
but
especially
anyway,
if the Bears are losing.
Yeah. Well, they always lose. I mean, there's nothing. Anyhow, Drew McIntyre. I can't believe he didn't mention Drew hitting a spine buster on Seth on the edge of the steel stairs.
Oh yeah, that was much later in the match. Though I was trying to recall some of the earlier spots.
Drew McIntyre with a side slam on Seth on the apron. Remember, Tomas, that is the hardest part of the ring, and Seth's back landed right on it.
I feel like they got really creative with the spots because after he hit the spine buster and he got up on the steel steps, I thought he was just going to drop down with the sidewalk slam. But the fact that he took it one step further and hit that sidewalk slam on the apron was so much more devastating. And I loved the near fall sequences going into this because McIntyre teases the Claymore and he hits a beautiful on the spot Claymore, and Rollins gets a excellent near fall there.
God.
But then when it switches over to Rollins' side of offense, he goes for the Phoenix Splash, which Michael Cole calls a corkscrew moonsault, and Wade Barrett is quick to correct him. Thank you, Wade Barrett.
Good job, Wade.
Rollins goes for the Phoenix Splash, and McIntyre counters with the Claymore to the nearest of near falls that you will ever see. There's an excellent sequence where Rollins goes for his superplex, which usually goes into the Falcon Arrow. McIntyre counters it into a brainbuster. Like, these two clicked so well together.
Fantastic. Drew also did kick out of a curb stomp before that whole sequence as well, which I thought was great storytelling as well. Michael Cole says he can only list a small handful of names that have kicked out of the curb stomp. Drew McIntyre can put himself on that list if he hadn't already when at the end of Vince's regime. But Seth and Drew have a brilliant little sequence towards the end. But then Seth Rollins hits him with a pedigree and a curb stomp in succession and pins Drew relatively clean in the middle of the ring. Seth Rollins retains in a very competitive match. No chicanery whatsoever. No heel turn at the end from Drew McIntyre either. No. He just walks up the ramp.
Save it.
Walks up the ramp despondent. I probably should have expected no heel turn because that's Triple H's wheelhouse. He's got to make you wait. He's got to make you wait to make you tune in.
Here's the thing. This is just a chapter in the arc that is Drew McIntyre because we still have War Games. And after War Games, we have good 2 months of television with no pay-per-views leading up to the Royal Rumble. I feel like this is something you either save for the end of the year or the beginning of the year.
Yes, and it was announced during the pay-per-view that Survivor Series was in fact going to be War Games in 3 weeks in Chicago right after Thanksgiving. I cannot freaking wait.
Yeah, but before we get to that, after the match, something I did not expect was going to happen. Damian Priest music hits, and we all know he's Mr. Money in the Bank, and he makes his way down, and he is pretty confident.
Senior Money in the Bank. Remember, he's Senior Money in the Bank.
That reminded me of, be sure we bring up who's ring announcing this show, but I don't want to go off topic too much.
No.
Priest makes his way down to the ring, and he is confidently ready to cash in Money in the Bank, and as he's heading over to ringside, I'm like, there's nothing really stopping him this time. And I thought for a second Priest maybe might tease it just to be like, I'm still like, that he's still on Rollins' head, just to, play those mind games. But you bring up the Judgment Day being brought into the Seth Rollins storyline, and they kind of had to because Priest is always there in the background with that Money in the Bank briefcase, teasing it.
Yes.
Priest he's ready to cash in this briefcase, and then a hooded figure attacks Priest from behind. It's Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn, not only does he prevent Priest from cashing in the briefcase, he steals the physical briefcase and he runs off to the crowd, which that was a great shot, by the way. All the Saudi Arabia, the whole crowd of Saudi Arabia around Sami Zayn with that briefcase. It brought a smile on my face, considering what Zayn has been through.
Yeah.
Especially the past couple years.
Sami runs away with Damian Priest's pretty little purple briefcase, and Damian chases after him. Seth Rollins is left alone in the ring to celebrate. Let me ask you something. Damian Priest won this ladder match to win the title shot, but he cannot cash in unless he actually has the physical briefcase, right?
Yes, this was the discussion that we got into. I feel like
this is a rule that is just getting established.
I feel like the only thing that reminded me of this is when Baron Corbin stole the Money in the Bank briefcase from Big E a couple years ago. But Baron Corbin was doing it there because he was so down on his luck that he felt like he needed to steal the briefcase to somehow get himself a championship. But here's the thing. Zayn is stealing the briefcase to keep Priest from cashing in because he doesn't want Judgment Day to have all the power. And I feel like we're getting back into this mindset of wrestling it's something that was borrowed from TNA, believe it or not. Whoever holds the world championship holds the power. So take that away from the Judgment Day.
Oh, God.
And I feel like, I hate to say this, I hate to bring this comparison up again, but Kazarian was playing checkers, Sami Zayn's playing chess.
Yeah. I mean, I hold the world title. If you don't get the job done, I'm going to fire you on the spot. That's what I'm thinking of. But
I feel like it's less of literal power and more like metaphorical power.
Yeah. WWE is smart in this instance, but Sami Zayn runs away. Damian Priest cannot cash in when he does not have his pretty briefcase, but this opening contest was fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.25 stars. Again, it's a Seth Rollins World Heavyweight title match. Seth Rollins is in it. Drew McIntyre is in the ring with him. They're two phenomenal workers with great chemistry. Couldn't have expected anything more. It was great. Great
I'm going to
match.
give this match 4 stars. It was excellent from start to finish. And you know what? Considering we had to wait 3 years to get this match proper, it was worth it. Everything about this match was great. We cut backstage right afterward. McIntyre is kind of sulking in his loss, and he's approached by Rhea Ripley.
Mommy.
Makes you wonder, will McIntyre join the Judgment Day? Again, we're making comparisons. This feels like Aces and Ace trying to recruit AJ Styles. I don't think Drew McIntyre is going to defiantly go against the Judgment Day, but I don't think he's going to join either.
No. I think he'd look too out of place. And Drew McIntyre's not a follower.
This is not about McIntyre adding to the Judgment Day. This is about his own arc, which, again, it's the best damn thing on Monday Night Raw right now.
Drew McIntyre does not need a stable. I don't want to see him, wearing Hot Topic style goth attire around the ring. I just want to see him be him.
Also, Judgment Day already has their heavy.
Yeah.
They have Damian Priest, and you don't want to
exactly
take away from Damian Priest because this is about his arc too.
That's right. So, layers. I love it. I love Monday Night Raw. Okay. Speaking of mommy, I'm very, very concerned about this next match when I saw it. It's a fatal 5-way match for the Women's World Championship. Mommy is defending against Zoey Stark, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and fucking Nia Jax. How do we get here? Who fucking cares at this point? Rhea Ripley was put out of commission after Payback by a returning Nia Jax, and I remember having this on the TV, and I was looking at it, and my girlfriend was with me, and I saw the television. I'm like, fuck this. Why is she back? Like, why does she have a job? Why? Why is she here?
It was Vince's parting shot as he was getting pushed out of the company.
No, it wasn't, because Nia Jax actually made a phone call to Hunter asking if there was a spot for her on the roster. And I feel like Hunter just gave her a handout. If you had eliminated Nia Jax out of this match and you had kept it Fatal 4-Way, wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. Nia Jax did nothing in this match. Absolutely nothing. But
if anyone's out there who defends Nia Jax, and believe it or not, there are some Nia Jax defenders out there, that they're going to say, oh, she knows how to get heat. She knows she's an easy heat magnet. I'm like, that's not enough. She's so one-dimensional. And if she's just going to ride that one quality, I'm not going to give a shit about her. Take a guy like MJF. Yes, he's a heat magnet. He's easy to hate. But on top of that,
even though he's a baby promo. Even though he's a baby face right now.
I'm talking about him as a heel right now. Easy heat magnet. Easy to hate. But he's also a good promo. He's also a good wrestler. He has layers. He has so much to offer to the table. You know, he has more than one skill. Nia Jax, you know, her being an easy heat magnet, it's going to die out.
That's not enough.
Because everything else, no.
You know why she has so much heat? It's because she sucks. Literally.
Yeah, she's dangerous.
She can't cut a promo. She can't wrestle worth a damn. And she always fucking hurts people. Always. Like, name one night, like, she almost ended Kairi Sane's career, of all people. She, you know, she hits a bonsai drop and hits Rhea Ripley as hard as she fucking can on her first night back. I'm like, why? Like, why are you here? You know?
Yeah. But to piggyback off of all of this, when I was watching this match, I mean, love everyone in this match, not named Nia Jax. There was not a single person in this match I wanted to see win that championship, not named Rhea Ripley.
This
and
match,
you know, I love a good competitive multi-person match, but you look at the field, you gotta want to root for somebody that's not the champion, right? There's got to be at least one person in this match that's like, you know what? It'd be cool if they won the championship. Let's run down the list. I love Raquel Rodriguez, but she ain't ready. I love Shayna Baszler, but they need to build her a hell of a lot more because Vince basically left her for dead, and Triple H is trying to put the pieces back together. And he has a hell of a long way to go with her.
Shayna Baszler had a hell of a head start on actually rebuilding herself. Remember, she is the reason that Ronda Rousey was sent packing and out the door of World Wrestling Entertainment. Shayna Baszler put her out of commission at SummerSlam. And say what you want, Shayna Baszler, I thought, was the MVP of this match because she was putting on submission holds and like. She was combining two people in different submission holds, tying them in like pretzel-sized knots. It was really cool.
But look at her win-loss record over the past three or so years since she's been called into the main roster. It's not good, and she is a far cry from that killing machine she was in NXT.
You're right.
So she has a hell of a long way to go before she can be considered the top dog on either show. And Zoey Stark, she ain't ready either. So, and you look at the magnitude. You look at the level of popularity that Rhea Ripley is. And I'm sorry, none of these ladies are on that level. My only issue with Rhea Ripley and her involvement with the championship is, I'm not saying they can't do this, but I wish they would pull back a little on her involvement in the men's storylines and have her focus on her own division. Because I feel like all these challengers came out of nowhere and she got mad at Adam Pearce and said, oh, I need to keep my division in check. It's like, well, yeah, because you're not wrestling
because you're the world champion. You're the world champion. You got to defend that shit. Like, you got to defend that shit at least 30 days in between. Oh, wait. No, I guess that rule doesn't apply to everybody. But
you want to talk about layers? Rhea Ripley gave an excellent interview where somebody called her out and said, like, oh, everyone's saying that, oh, how come Rhea Ripley can hit the men, but the men can't hit back? And Rhea Ripley said, who said they can't hit me back?
You know
they
what?
Don't hit me back because they know their place. That is an excellent rebuttal, but why don't you stop focusing so much on them and start focusing on the division that you say that you run?
Rhea Ripley is literally the second coming of China because this is like straight out of the 1999 Attitude Era playbook because China was getting involved in Triple H's business as a heel when Triple H was on the rise to get the WWF Championship. But at the same time, China was also a babyface lower down on the card, beating up a misogynist in Jeff Jarrett. You know, it's like, it's exactly the same thing here. Rhea Ripley almost comes off as a babyface, and the crowd absolutely loves her in this context. But when she's involved in the Judgment Day storylines, she is a ruthless, vindictive heel. You know, it's right out of the China playbook. So
yeah, it really is. Just again, her popularity and her rise to fame, which I love. And I'm sorry, I got a bone to pick with every single fan out there. To all of the fans saying that just now that she's mommy, that you want her to step on you, that thinks she's the hottest thing. I always thought she was hot. I remember her back in 2019 and I thought she was hot. So don't sit there and say like, oh, we just realized how hot Rhea Ripley is. it's like that meme of the astronaut shooting the other one. It's like, wait, Rhea Ripley's hot. I'm the guy with the gun. She always has. Yeah, she always has.
Like, Rhea Ripley's hot. Yeah, Rhea Ripley's hot. Well, guess what? The sky is blue. I'm glad you're starting to come around, y'all.
You talk about Shayna Baszler in this match. I think at one point she hooked like 3 different submission holds at once.
Yeah, she had like 2 Indian deathlocks at once on Rhea and Raquel, and she also had locked Nia in the Kirifuda clutch at the same time, which I thought was really cool.
Awesome.
Again, Shayna Baszler, MVP of the match, if you ask me.
Yes, I agree.
I was talking a little bit about coming around, and those of you who have been following the ZNT wrestling show for a while know that I've not been a fan of Zoey Stark at all, and I've had my things to say about her. I think I may have misjudged her a little bit. I think I may have been wrong, and Tomas is ready to scold me here. Okay, go ahead.
She's a good wrestler. She always has been a good wrestler.
Yeah, well, you know what she is? You know what she is? She's the female Sin Cara, because
I disagree.
She is very athletic, but she botches a lot of shit. She botches so much. You know, she wants to be this high flyer. You know, she wants to hit all these athletic moves and jump off the top rope and do all this stuff. Not saying Zoey Stark was pitch perfect or crisp in this match. She hits a great finisher, a Z360, but a lot of her other offensive maneuvers are a little bit sloppy. You know, it could use some, like, you know, refining and some practice, but...
I'll meet you halfway. Is Zoey Stark a good wrestler? I mean, does Zoey Stark have potential? Yes. Was she called up way too soon? Yes. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Another year in NXT would have done her wonders, especially with the way things are in NXT now. More Sami.
Remember, I think I said something during the Payback review, Tomas, that kind of holds true right now. Take Trish Stratus away from Zoey Stark, and she's just another woman on the roster. And
they're trying. They really, really are really trying with her. But
again, she's not on Rhea's level right now. She's not. That's just the truth.
I don't know what it is, but it feels like different aspects of WWE are getting better than others. You want to talk about the scene, the women's scene on SmackDown? Layers. There's a hell of a lot more better storylines and storytelling going on over there. But on Raw, they got Rhea Ripley that they are so, like you said, so like just involved with her getting involved with the men's storylines that they're not focusing on the women. Like they're starting to, the wheels are starting to turn. I see what they're doing with Becky Lynch. They've been keeping Becky Lynch busy on NXT, so her and Rhea Ripley don't cross paths. They're doing something with Xia Li, you know, baby steps. This is going all right, but they need more focus on women not named Rhea Ripley or Becky Lynch for that matter.
Xia Li's on SmackDown though, isn't she? Or was she moved over?
She's moved over to Raw. I know it was hard to notice in the draft because
missed that.
I remember when she showed up on Raw to challenge Becky Lynch for the NXT title. I said the same thing. I'm like, isn't your ass on SmackDown? But I was like, oh no, her and Tegan Nox got moved over to Raw during the draft.
Yeah, I guess
nobody noticed.
But anyhow, the finish of this match is actually pretty creative. So Raquel, I believe, is covering Shayna, and Rhea has Zoey Stark on the second rope in Riptide position. And she hits an avalanche Riptide on top of Raquel, on top of Shayna. It's a gigantic dog pile. It's a really cool visual. Rhea ends up pinning Shayna Baszler to retain the title. And
the only thing missing from this finish was her putting her foot, stacking them all on top of each other, and her just putting her foot on them while holding the title in the air. Well, that would have been an awesome visual because she just annihilated the whole women's roster by herself, or on Raw for that matter.
Well, you don't understand. Nia Jax wouldn't want to take the pin. But in any case, Rhea Ripley hits that beautiful looking Riptide, and Michael Cole was like hamming this up. He was like, Rhea Ripley only had 20% chance of retaining. If it's a dominant champion and you're putting a percentage point on a multi-person match, chances are they're probably going to walk out with the title. You know, they were doing the same thing. We were talking about JBL's long run at the top as WWE champion. He was wrestling triple threat matches, fatal four ways. JBL's only got 25% chance, and lo and behold, JBL retains. It's the same thing here. But in any case,
you know what? This was all right. I'm gonna give it 2 3/4 stars. I thought I was gonna give it 3. but it was your standard multi-person match. Nothing too special. Nothing too crazy. These ladies only got 11 minutes. And you know what? I think I'm going to ease your mind a little when I bring up this point. Yes, Nia Jax is back. Yes, she was in a championship match, but you can tell in this match alone that Triple H said, you know what, Nia, I'm in charge now. Know your place.
Know your place.
Because she ain't getting put over like Vince.
Yeah, and you know what happened? Right when the bell rang, she got out of the ring. She barely did a damn thing. So
you look at 2016 to 2018 compared to now when it comes to Nia Jax. She's not. Vince liked her. You can tell. Vince really liked her.
Well, she's not like most girls, so I see why. Yeah. But
fuck
anyway,
Triple H probably said, "You know what, Nia? I'm not a bad person. I'm going to give you a job, but don't think it's going to be like how it was before."
Exactly. Nia Jax is getting a free paycheck from Triple H, so she should be thanking her lucky stars right now.
I was going to say, so be thankful, and you better just do as you're told.
Yeah, because she sucks. So anyway, I had to get that one in. But let's move on.
Here's an interesting match, and John Cena's final, I don't want to say farewell tour, but it might be. But on this final stop in his tour during the writer's strike, when he signed on for 8 weeks of television, all exclusive to SmackDown, John Cena goes one-on-one with the enforcer of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa. How did we get here? A couple weeks ago, Cena brought up in a promo that it has been over 2,000 days since he last won a singles match. And that's crazy to believe. The last time he won a singles match was in 2018 at the very first Saudi Arabia show. Was it the Greatest Royal Rumble?
It was against Triple H in the opener.
He defeated Triple H. Ever since then, I had to mentally go through everything that he's done. And he lost Theory. He lost to Roman Reigns. And all the other matches were tag team matches or multi-person matches.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was after the whole WrestleMania, the Undertaker debacle, so we can't count anything back then when Cena was still pretty regular. But Cena
lost to the Fiend.
This is where I'm going to knock WWE though. He lost to the Fiend. This is where I'm going to knock WWE just a little. We just got the announcement last week that Sting is officially going to retire. That he's on his farewell tour. It's going to end at Revolution. So all eyes are on Sting right now in AEW. Literally 2 nights later, after Sting makes that announcement, Cena is on the mic saying, "I was thinking about retirement." I'm like, you couldn't have waited.
Weren't. No, you weren't.
No, you weren't. I'm not saying WWE was trying to capitalize on Sting's big announcement, but it looks a little suspicious when Cena's out there literally 2 nights after Sting announced that he's officially going to retire.
Sting is 65 years old right now. John Cena is a ripe 46. Cena's not going anywhere for a while. In terms of I don't think that this contest against Solo Sikoa was necessarily his last match ever, but I feel like WWE definitely, you're right, they went overboard with the whole idea of John Cena retiring, but
as long as Cena can breathe, he's going to wrestle.
Oh yeah.
You could amputate this man, hands and feet, and he will drag himself into the ring with his teeth and say, "Ring the bell, bitch." Cena's not going anywhere, but Cena is going back to his, I want to call it his grown-up job. Apparently the writer's strike is closing in and Cena's ready to go back to work. He even said so.
As is the actor's strike. The actor's strike is ending soon too. So
it was back at the Payback. Payback was lost pay-per-view, right? The Payback, the Fastlane press conference where Cena was asked about it, and he said, "Well, just let everyone know now. The minute this strike is over, I'm going back." He's going back to making movies, so he's enjoying this ride. And we have been so thankful to have John Cena back in the WWE. I was thankful enough to see him live, not only to see him live, but to see him wrestle. I don't remember the last time I've seen John Cena wrestle live, so that was pretty important to me.
WrestleMania.
Thank you. But on SmackDown, nonetheless.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was a treat. That was a nice surprise. But Cena challenges Sikoa. Sikoa has been given his marching orders by the tribal chief. Take out John Cena. So this was a fun, looking at this match, just looking at it. Cena's going away. He's going to make Sikoa look great, but, Cena's going to get the big win. I actually like this match a lot. I think these guys had good chemistry with one another. Like, when Cena wants to turn it up, he really turns it up. I feel like him and Randy Orton are in the same mind frame of not every match you're going to get is going to be a 5-star match. When I feel like it, you're going to get a good match out of me. I think this was one of those nights where he turned it up.
And I said during the Fastlane pod when Cena was in that tag match with Solo Sikoa on the other side, he wants to make this kid look like $1 million. Just because he reminds John Cena of one of his favorite opponents, Umaga. Rest in peace that he fought to. And Solo has reminded me of Umaga ever since I first laid eyes on him. You know, right down to using the Samoan Spike as a finisher. And they were selling the lethal nature of the Samoan Spike as well. And that was to a point that I hadn't felt since Umaga was with us, you know? Solo hit Cena a few weeks ago on SmackDown with the Samoan Spike. Cena comes back and cuts a promo, and Cena's got, harass me, people power voice, but he's still going to cut a promo, and he's going to tell Solo Sikoa that he's a bargain bin Taz ripoff. You know, it was just, Cena did not need to cook Solo like that before he left. He did not need to do that. You know? But it was a great line, though. It was like the best, like... like I never thought I would hear Taz's name mentioned on a WWE program ever again, but Cena did it. Cena brought him up, you know, but this match was very good. The only thing I will say is I kind of wish that Solo Sikoa was leaning into selling the thumb a little bit more, because the early part of the match, Cena was using a lot of arm-related offense to try and take out the Samoan Spike. That's a great story. But I just kind of wish, this is kind of nitpicking, I wish Solo would have sold the arm a little bit more. But because he was hitting like a bajillion Samoan spikes at the end, clearly. Yeah, and you know, like he started feeling the pain a little bit, but then the pain, it was like, he's like a freaking abomination fighting the Incredible Hulk at the end. Just like, you know, he's got no pain at all. Like just hitting Samoan Spike after Samoan Spike after Samoan Spike, and he's just not selling it anymore. You know?
Yeah, I think Cena and Sikoa had a great little match with each other. This went 16 minutes, but
really?
Near the end, they went 16 minutes.
Wow.
But
didn't feel like
I just realized this. Getting into the end of this match, we have been so coaxed, so groomed in our lives, growing up watching John Cena, that it didn't matter if he was fighting Umaga, the Great Khali, the Big Show, Kane, the Undertaker.
Mark Henry.
Beat down and beat Mark Henry. He can get beat down and beat down and beat down, but he's always going to get back up. He's going to hit that attitude adjustment, and he's going to win. But Solo Sikoa hit the Samoan Spike, and then he hit another one.
Yeah.
And then he hit another one. And then that's when it dawned on me. I was like, he's not going to Super Cena his way out of this one.
No, he's not going to Super Cena. He's not going to Super Cena his way out of this one, but not before Solo hits a spinning rock bottom on John Cena before all these...
Spinning Solo.
What are you talking about? He's calling out his cousin. He hit a big old gigantic...
You know what? Spinning Solo.
No, it's a rock bottom. Literally, all he does is he picks him up in a rock bottom position and he just spins around like a tether ball. That's all it is.
Oh, you mean like a spinning side slam, so you can call it the winds of change? I don't think Wade Barrett would appreciate that.
No. John Cena also hit a choke slam in this match, and I was like, oh, Cena's pulling out some weird offensive maneuvers. I was waiting for the springboard stunner that he used in 2015, but we didn't get it. We did not get it, sadly.
Hey, maybe we just talked about Kane and Undertaker and Big Show being, you know, some of his foes. Like maybe he was just paying homage to a few other of his favorite opponents.
Yeah. John Cena with a tombstone pile drivers.
But yeah, it was like, I'm not kidding, like 10 Samoan spikes. And this is where I caught Cena calling us.
Oh boy.
Cena.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So obvious.
Cena's infamous on Twitter for, you know, basically, oh, you're calling your shots, brother, and you're being really loud about it. But
it's
this
Cena's biggest flaw.
Oh my God, it was so freaking obvious in this thing because the camera was on him. Cena should have been selling, and he was like, "Yeah, come, finish the business, kid." And come on, John. I mean, I know we can't see you. We normally can't see you, but this time we did see you call your shots. Like
him and Chris Jericho are the worst of all time when it comes to that.
Yeah. Not saying I still don't love him, because I do, but that's always been John Cena's kryptonite, if you will.
Let me ask you this. when is the last time you saw John Cena pinned clean in the middle of the ring? No bullshit. No outside interference. Nothing.
Yeah. There was
no low blows, no weapons, no referee distraction. Clean as a goddamn whistle in the middle of that ring.
I haven't seen a dominant win like this over John Cena since the Brock Lesnar match in 2014 at SummerSlam when Brock won the title.
Well, do you want to count Undertaker at Mania 34?
Yeah,
that was
even
a squash.
Yeah, that was a squash. That was a squash, even though that was more of a segment than a match, because I refuse to believe that the Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania was a squash. But
it was still a match.
It was technically speaking.
Undertaker said himself, apparently they were going to go 20 minutes, and I don't know who stepped in and like told them, nah, this is going to be a squash. I think it was Vince's idea. Yeah, it was Vince's idea for it to be a squash.
It was.
And Taker was so against it, but after like calming down, he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's squash him. But yeah, Solo goes in there, pins John Cena. The crowd gives a thank you Cena chant. They are clapping as he is leaving. Solo Sikoa just got the biggest win of his entire career. He's a made man. Baby Umaga is a household name now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
don't you feel like a part of your innocence has been taken away, knowing that all of these think of every single John Cena match, John Cena versus Randy Orton, John Cena versus Triple H, John Cena versus The Big Show, John Cena versus Umaga, John Cena versus JBL, John Cena versus Edge, all those matches, we have seen Cena super Cena his way out of every single possibility. And here he just looked so helpless. And it was like his.
It's like his.
I don't want to say his farewell, but like.
It's not his farewell, but it's almost like his Logan moment, if you will. Because if you ever watch that movie, it's a phenomenal movie, mind you. Wolverine is broken down and beaten. He's got, a lot of tread on the tires, if you will. And Michael Cole actually made that great analogy during the match. Solo Sikoa is like a fresh coat of paint, and John Cena's got a lot of wear and tear on the tires. Might be time to you can put that in the garage. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old when they're saying, "Oh, put Cena in the garage."
Yeah, it's just.
Fuck.
I'm not saying this is Cena's last match. I agree with you.
No.
But this was his perfect farewell, just to let everyone know this is the end for Cena for now. Could we see Cena at Mania? If the stars align and they find the right opponent for him, LA Knight, then yes.
I don't think that's going to happen with how this card played out, unfortunately. But in any case, this match was very good. I do have a few nitpicks that are holding it back for me, but I'm going to go 3 1/4.
I'm going to give it 3 1/4. Yeah, 3 1/4.
3 1/4 sounds fair. But yeah, it was a great way to put over Solo Sikoa, who definitely needed it. I feel like in the build to Roman Reigns' next Mania opponent, a certain someone is probably going to tell Solo that he's ready. But, it's beating Cena will certainly get him ready for the big time. Well, Tomas, I think it's about that time. It's prime time. It's Rey Mysterio defending the U.S. title against, God. Why?
Everyone's favorite wrestler.
No, it's not everybody's favorite wrestler. Why would an abortion be your favorite wrestler? I'm sorry. Why?
It's like when you know it's time to go back to the dentist. It comes so quick.
Yeah.
You get that graphic. He's coming back. Logan Paul.
It is.
In the beginning, it was like, oh, Logan Paul is showing up on Raw, for example, which means he's going to feud with a Raw star. And he's going to stay on Raw for that program. Nope. They got this guy jumping shows now. And they had to make it clear that he's a free agent now. So Triple H, why do you like this guy? No, I know exactly why you like this guy. I just wish you didn't.
I don't know why this guy seems to be made of money. And I don't know what a Prime Energy drink is. I don't know what his crew is. Anytime okay, let me be serious for a second. You should not be paying $27 for a 12-pack of any drink at all, unless it's like some really rich alcohol. But Logan Paul is just stealing your money, guys. That's what he's doing.
He is. I would rather drink toilet water
Yeah, you could get a 12-pack of Pepsi for half the price that Logan Paul is charging you for Prime. That's just the truth. That is the God's honest truth.
Let me ask you something. How did you find out what a Logan Paul was? Like before all of this? I know exactly. No, I know exactly how I found out who he was. Him and his dumbass brother. I was at my grandma's house and my cousins were there and we were reminiscing about how we used to watch Disney Channel. And my cousins go, yeah, the shows aren't that great anymore. And they flipped one on for me. I forgot what it was called, but there was this character on there that I thought he was pretty funny. Being an adult, I was like, you know what? This guy is actually pretty funny. And then later on, I find out his name is Jake fucking Paul. And I find out he gets fired by Disney because he's an asshole. And then I find out he has a brother. I find out they do YouTube. I didn't watch any of their YouTube stuff. And then I saw the Forest video. And it's all history from there. The rest is history.
Yeah, the Forest video, and then Logan Paul starts scamming people out of cryptocurrency, which why would you even invest in cryptocurrency just because it seems like a sham? But
how did you find out what a Logan Paul was?
WrestleMania 38. And I was
like, unfortunate.
Yeah, why is the Miz teaming with this random bloke that's coming in? And like, you know, I as soon as I figured out who he was, I did my proper research and I came across that Forest video and I was appalled, absolutely appalled as to why this guy is actually famous and why he's out there. Like, I mean, he's got some balls though. To step into like a boxing ring with Floyd Mayweather, to step into a ring with a luchador, like he's at least got some courage, but I cannot give him credit for how much of a sham of a human being he is.
Exactly. You know? And we were talking about this. I know we have came on this podcast a few times now because how many matches has Logan Paul had? Like this is like his 5th or 6th match.
And you know, the tag match, the Miz match, the Roman match. He was in the Rumble,
the Ricochet match,
the Seth
Rumble
match, the Ricochet match, and if you're counting the Rumble, this is match number 7. If I'm not mistaken.
If you want to count Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah, Money in the Bank. Yeah, shit,
and
that's right. So
those.
that's 8.
I do count those.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have came up here and we have admittedly said that we have enjoyed Logan Paul's matches.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have come this close to saying, you know what, I don't like him as a person, but I appreciate him as a wrestler. But every single time I'm going to do it, something else comes out in the news about him. And you know what? If I was Triple H, I would sit this fool down in a room and be like, hey, man, whatever you do, I know your deal was pretty lucrative with us. Whatever you do outside the ring is none of our business. But can you please try to not make us and yourself look like a fucking idiot? You know?
Be on your best behavior. I mean, that's like that should be the MO of every normal human being walking the face of the earth. Logan Paul just does not ever seem to want to display good behavior. And like he should not be wanting to market the Prime Energy drink towards children either, because apparently 1 Prime Energy drink equals 6 cans of Sprite, 6 cans of Coca-Cola. Why is there so much fucking caffeine in those drinks?
Like, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure like Logan Paul told Triple H, like, hey, I'm coming in, but you know, all of my stuff, like you're not allowed to touch it. Like my Prime deal, you're not allowed to touch it. All of my other outside endeavors, you're not allowed to touch them. I'm sure there was like a pretty lucrative deal he had going into this. But again, like we said with Tony Khan with CM Punk, I'm not saying Logan Paul has been that bad of, you know, when it comes to behavior stuff, but I'm pretty sure Triple H just had to tell him like, hey man, can you try to keep your nose clean while you work for us? You try.
Yeah.
Like there's no way they know like about his history and stuff like that. But it's just like, I mean, I remember out of sheer curiosity, I clicked on one of his videos and I just skipped to the middle of it and I couldn't last a minute. I'm like, I can't stand this guy.
No. I mean, it's different when you like are someone like me who goes on YouTube and is like unapologetically himself. Logan Paul just has this aura about him that just makes him unappealing, you know?
Yeah. And he's all into like the YouTube beef, and he's, you know, beefing with this YouTuber and that YouTuber, and he's got a stupid podcast, and he's just like,
I actually took the liberty of searching up should Prime Energy drinks be consumed by children. Hold Hold on. Let me.
Let me guess. It just says no.
What is Prime Drink okay for kids? Is the Google search. And I quote: Prime energy drinks contain excessive amounts of caffeine and should absolutely be avoided in children. So why is Logan Paul marketing this so that the 12-year-old kids who are riding around on their bicycles in their neighborhood, why should they be drinking this? Why?
No. It's, oh my God. The FDA is currently investigating Prime Energy Drink, which I think is hilarious. It's a big heaping scoop of karma.
Like, if you were, like, say you were a dad and you had a 12-year-old kid who wanted a Prime Energy Drink and and you knew about all this, like, investigation going on, wouldn't you want to investigate what Prime Energy drinks were before you fed it to your kid?
I remember when I was 13, my parents wouldn't let me touch Red Bull.
Yeah, I was. It took me a while before I could have a Monster, that's for sure. But yeah.
Anywho, we're done bitching about Logan Paul, but he is going one-on-one with Rey Mysterio. How did we get here? Logan just showed up on an episode of SmackDown, and he said he wanted a championship. So since Rey Mysterio was the U.S. champion, Logan said the last time, just listing off the last time I beat Rey Mysterio, Dominic was still your son. The last time I beat you, this, and all this, just being his regular douchey self. Rey gives Logan the title match, but he doesn't trust Logan. I mean, why would you? And then it's a pretty basic story. Like, there's a couple of layers.
Logan Paul didn't have to win a #1 contenders match, didn't have to win a battle royal to earn this,
I mean, neither did Drew McIntyre.
And neither did LA Knight. I mean, say what you want.
So,
nobody earned a title match. They were just given it on this show. Like, I don't know, man.
But surprisingly enough, this was Logan's weakest match since coming to WWE.
Oh yeah, for sure it was. No question about it. You know why? Because Logan Paul was horrible tonight. He was really bad. He was super sloppy in the ring.
He's getting too comfortable.
Yeah. Michael Cole is like, it's funny you mentioned he's getting too comfortable because it almost seems like, okay, Triple H is giving him the deal. He's giving him the U.S. title. But now Logan Paul just isn't really putting the work in anymore. It's almost like, say you're a football player. You're playing for the NFL. You're in your rookie contract. And you're fighting for a chance to get that big payday. Like you're one of the best players in the league. Well, the team is incompetent enough to actually give you that paycheck. And then you just slouch off. Russell Wilson. Anyway.
You also got to take Logan's inexperience into account. Like, he never worked the indie circuit. He didn't work NXT. He just did a few sessions with Shawn Michaels. And he is naturally athletic. But let's run down through Logan's opponents as he came through. The Miz, the easiest and the safest worker in the business. That brought the best out of him. Ricochet, who is still fairly new in WWE, that had a point to prove. And, on the same age, the same athleticism as Logan. Roman Reigns, he's trying to prove that he's the best fucking world champion of all time.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, one of the best workers in the game, still feeling he has a lot to prove himself. Rey Mysterio, let us remind everybody, Rey still works like he's in his mid-20s, but man is what? He's like 50 now?
No, 40. Fuck, like late 40s. I don't think he's 50 yet. I don't think he's hit that. He's very close.
There.
He's very close to 50.
He's still an excellent wrestler. Nobody escapes Father Time. And if there is one thing I noticed from this match, is that Rey cannot carry a match by himself anymore.
He tried.
His opponents need to meet him halfway. Well, and when you look at guys like Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, his own son and Dominic Mysterio, Santos Escobar, all of those guys are very smartened up in the biz and have a ton of respect for Rey. And of course, they are willing to meet him halfway to put on an excellent match. Even guys that were higher up in age, when he first came back to WWE, like Samoa Joe, like Randy Orton, like veterans in the game still knew they had to meet Rey halfway.
They did.
Because all of his injuries, he's getting up there in age. I don't think Logan met Rey halfway in this match.
No, he didn't. I mean, Rey Mysterio had to carry this match after having surgery 5 times in his left knee. He had to do it, but he can't carry his match. Can't carry a match on his own anymore. And yeah, I'm sorry, Logan Paul was just fucking everything up tonight. There was a point where he had to catch Rey Mysterio and give him a power slam. Logan Paul his knees buckle almost under the pressure, and Rey Mysterio is not a large man. So Logan Paul should be able to lift him up with the greatest of ease. But he almost drops Rey Mysterio on his fucking head and kills him. Like, why?
You want to talk about Logan's knees? We just last year praised Logan Paul for having a better buckshot lariat than CM Punk, and then his knees fucking buckled on the same spot.
Barely was able to deliver the clothesline. Barely was able to deliver the clothesline. Wade Barrett even called him out on it. Rey Mysterio, I could sense, was honestly kind of getting pissed during this match, because there was a point where he was on offense and he was like, "Come on, Logan, you want to be champ? Huh? You want to be champ?" And he's like kicking Logan as hard as he can in the legs, which I thought, like,
you know what? I mean, we are getting to this point that I'm sure Triple H needs to understand that, Logan's in there with sharks. No, not firing, but like some of these wrestlers might start taking liberties with Logan Paul. And if that means stiffing him a little, roughing him up a little, I'm all fucking for it.
Well, I mean, if he can't be fired, then I mean, yeah, that's about what I can stomach right now.
Throw him in there with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar will not hesitate to fuck him up.
Please, I would love for Brock Lesnar to teach
this young guy a lesson. We
are talking
about the man that punched Braun Strowman in the side of his head because he was annoyed with him. Imagine what he'd do if he got his hands on him.
Yeah. I don't even want to envision it because it makes me so happy. But anyway,
it also doesn't help that the crowd wasn't really into this.
No. After the last match, this crowd died. They were so freaking quiet for this match, and it was, like Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul did have a couple of good moves in this match, but I can sense that the crowd was thinking it was sloppy also. There's a point where one of Logan Paul's cronies, I believe on his Prime team, gives him the brass knuckles, very similar to what happened at SummerSlam against Ricochet. That's how Logan Paul won that match. But then Logan Paul drops the knucks, and the crony basically has to scurry over to the other side of the ring to grab them. Santos Escobar saves the day. He steps on the brass knuckles, picks it up.
Actually, a great camera shot, by the way.
Yes.
And I saw what they were doing. They were setting up for it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to crawl over to get the nuts. And then Escobar's going to show up. The foot is going to be on the nuts, and they're going to pan up, and it's going to be him. And it was pretty good. It was kind of telegraphed, but I love the shot.
Damn good. But what was your problem with this interference? What was it?
So, speaking of telegraphed, because why would any smart person do this unless he did it on purpose, which I'll get into in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Escobar chases this guy off, but not before not sticking the brass knucks in his pocket, not chucking them in the crowd, not throwing them under the ring. He puts the brass knucks clear as day on the ring apron.
Right next to Logan Paul, who is in position for a 619. Santos chases Logan's little punk out of there. Ray does hit the 619. Go ahead.
I want to talk about this finish because it bugged me too. Take a good heel, for example. Take Edge. What would Edge have done? He would have hid those brass knucks out of view of the referee. And when Rey Mysterio went for the 619, like in mid-kick, he probably would have blasted him right in the knee or blasted him in the gut so the referee would not see. No, Logan turns around with the knucks, clear view, and delivers the one lucky punch. And I'm just like, ref, you couldn't see that? What's the point of being secretive with the knucks if they're like invisible?
Where's the DQ?
Take another good heel. William Regal, who would quickly do it. He'd be so discreet about it. Like he did it in a way where you could not see the knucks. Like, even so is delivering the punch and then quickly stuffing them in the trunks. Like,
why
Logan, not? William Regal is back there, like in Gorilla. You might want to sit down with him for a few minutes. You will learn a thing or two. Because this was so, like, blatant.
It really was, man. And I hate to say it, but the inevitable happens. Logan Paul nails Ray with the brass knuckles in position for the West Coast pop. I don't want to say it, but Logan Paul is the U.S. champion.
You know what? I was kind of expecting it going into the match, but when it happened, I didn't think I was going to be as upset as I was. I'm going to give the match 3 stars. It was very underwhelming. It was Logan's weakest match since he came in to the E. And here's my thing now. And I'm not the first person to say this. I'll be the last one to say it. Triple H has to realize that your world champion that everyone is getting pretty sick of is on a part-time basis right now.
Me.
You just put the tag team titles are technically held by Raw guys. Sure, they can jump to SmackDown, but only for tag team title business. You just put the United States title on a guy that wrestles 3 times a year max. 4 times a year. I'll be a little generous. 4 times a year max.
Well,
and
5.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm going to put it in quotation marks. They want the mainstream rub from this guy. They want Logan Paul to take this title and put it up on his mantle on his podcast. They want it to be in his YouTube videos. They want it to be at every single social event that Logan Paul is going to be at. I kind of get that. But while Logan Paul is doing that for your product, he's not going to be on your weekly television show defending that title. So what you've effectively done, there are 0 champions on your show, not including the women's champion, that are there on a weekly basis. You've got to understand that, and you've got to be real. SmackDown is already as barren as it is. It's a 2-hour show, and it's a smaller roster. SmackDown tends to do these storylines where a guy will get kayfabe injured and is off TV for 2 months. Is this really the risk you wanted to take just to get the mainstream rub?
Yeah. Let's reward Logan Paul for all of his bad behavior by giving him a title that represents the United States of America. Great.
Not only that.
Great idea.
But I got so irritated when Michael Cole said Logan Paul is now wearing the same title that the greats like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart.
That makes me sick. That makes me sick to my stomach, man. Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, I'll say it, Chris Benoit, Booker T. He's wearing this Harley Race, Lex Luger.
Sting.
Yeah, did you say Sting already? I don't know if you said Sting.
No.
Yeah, Sting. All these fucking guys, and Logan Paul is in that same pedigree with him now. Randy Orton.
But here,
John Cena.
There has to be something. Triple H must have hey Logan, we're gonna put the title on you, but you got to work a few more dates. You got to work every single pay-per-view going into Mania. And you got to show up twice a month on TV. Yeah. Something like that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just hope someone satisfying takes that title off that Punk. But
and here's the thing. Now I'm starting to wonder, instead of doing the heel turn for the title, did Santos Escobar do this on purpose to Rey Mysterio so he could lose his title, and then they're going to go into the program? And I'm just like, wouldn't have the program been more satisfying with the title on the line? This is one of those instances where that title was meant for the feud. I want to see Rey and Escobar at WrestleMania, but I wanted to see it for the United States Championship. Yeah. And I know maybe Rey holding it that long was a little, a little too far-fetched, but at the same time, we just talked about Rey's age, the wear and tear on his body. This man has been doing this for damn near 30 years, but he's still wrestling on a regular basis. He's still a full-timer, and Logan Paul's not. And he's a young stallion. Calls himself the Maverick. Well, you know what? You're going to work like a Maverick now.
Yeah.
They're up to me, but we'll see.
What's Maverick about you? You're not as likable as Tom Cruise.
Nope.
Anyway, that's enough of him. Let's move on. We got a women's title match to talk about next, don't we?
Yes. Iyo Sky defending her WWE Women's Championship against a returning Bianca Belair. Iyo Sky has been successfully retaining her Women's Championship, which makes me so happy. Against the likes of Charlotte Flair, against the likes of Asuka. She's beating the cream of the crop when it comes to the SmackDown Women's roster. And Bianca Belair made her grand return. She took some personal time off. I saw a couple of people getting upset that she was put right back into the title picture with no title contention or anything like that. And comparing it to Charlotte Flair. Guys, you need to realize Bianca Belair took personal time off. They didn't tell her, you're going to go take a couple months off, and when you come back, we're going to put you right in the picture. It was for different reasons. So try to understand that.
And it also makes sense with the story, because remember when Iyo Sky cashed in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam? Who held the title? It wasn't Charlotte. It was Bianca. So this is perfectly fine for a rematch. I had no problem with Bianca coming right back in and picking up business right where she left off. She's out for revenge against Damage Control for taking her belt away. It's not like Charlotte, always being in the title picture because she's Charlotte. Bianca actually has a reason to go after Iyo right now. And remember, those two had a classic match at Backlash in Puerto Rico earlier this year. So I was stoked. I don't think this match was nearly as great because it was,
participation.
It was still good. Yeah, these two ladies are wrestling a very good match, flying to a country that normally would not, welcome them. But this crowd just did not get into it. And, I bless the ladies' hearts for working their asses off. And Iyo Sky, by the way, Lita called. She wants her cargo pants back.
I still thought this was a fun match.
Oops. It was. No, because these two have great chemistry and they were telling a good story. Bianca Belair was coming back from nursing that leg injury in kayfabe, so they were using that in the story. So Iyo Sky was wrestling a very different match than we're used to seeing from her. Genius of the Sky and all, high flyer. She was very methodical and very technical, and I thought that was a really interesting approach. They were trying to eliminate the hair as well, which I've said in the past, that should be a disqualification on normal occasions because Bianca's using a weapon, technically, but
not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily, even though it's a satisfying sound every time he cracked that whip. But
you might want to have a talk with their buddy Hulk Hogan that just casually took his weight belt off in the middle matches and whipped people with it, and he never got in trouble for it.
How is that not a disqualification? Is my question. But
you want to revisit the Warrior, Great Hogan and Warrior match we watched last week?
No.
No. It was a good match.
No. No, it wasn't, you fucking asshole. Anyway, this match was very good. But again, much like WCW, it was riddled with outside interference because Bayley does get involved once again. And they're teasing the dissension and Damage Control. They're teasing that Bayley is somewhat jealous that Iyo is holding onto the title.
Dare I say I liked it here, though?
Oh, yeah. No,
I thought the outside interference was warranted.
I'm not saying
I agree with you. Like, in the second half of the show, it was a bit much, and I didn't realize that. But I feel like if I could pick one match out of this batch, it'd be this one where I'm like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I'm not giving them a pass because they're WWE. I mean, there's one thing to have outside interference in a match like this where it makes sense storyline-wise, but you can't do it in like 4 matches in a row. You got to space that out. You know what I mean? But in any case, Bayley almost costs Iyo Sky the title again. They're brawling on the outside. Bianca has Iyo Sky in position for the kiss of death, and Iyo Sky is pulled off of Bianca's shoulders by someone I think looks like Dakota Kai by the hair, but then she turns around, and rumors are true. It's none other than the Pirate Princess Kairi Sane, and I was so excited to see her again. Like, she is, like, teaming up with Iyo Sky. She is costing Bianca the match, and I almost thought Bianca was going to get counted out of the ring. But Bianca makes her way back in. Iyo Sky hits her finishing maneuver, and
over the moonsault.
Over the moonsault, thank you. And she ends up pinning Bianca Belair after that. Kairi Sane goes in there, celebrates with Iyo Sky, and Bayley looks on and just is completely betrayed. But this, again, is why you love Triple H Creative, because Michael Cole is very careful to point out the layers. Because Kairi Sane is back after, what is it? Has it been 3 years? Wow. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
She left during the pandemic.
So happy to see her again.
Because Nia Jax hurt her, and Kairi Sane didn't feel comfortable anymore, so she retired from wrestling.
So, yeah, please keep Kairi Sane on SmackDown as far away from Nia Jax as possible. But Kairi Sane... Yeah, fuck Nia Jax, you're right. But Kairi Sane goes in there, and she raises Iyo Sky's hand, and Michael Cole says this is Kairi Sane's return after 3 years, after Bayley took her out. In kayfabe. Nia Jax took her out, but, in storyline, it was Bayley and Sasha Banks in their feud with Asuka and the Kabuki Warriors in the Performance Center.
It's kind of like maybe Iyo Sky was, you look at that kayfabe, Iyo Sky is like I can't trust Bayley as much as I would like to anymore. So I'm going to go to the outside. I'm going to go get my buddy Kairi Sane because I can trust her. And maybe Iyo Sky is starting to form her own group.
That's what it's looking like. And if what I think the War Games trajectory is looking like on the men's side, the women's side should be on SmackDown. And I don't know if Dakota Kai is going to be cleared from injury by this point, but you very easily have 4 heels on one side, and you can get 4 baby faces to go up against this Damage Control group right here. Yeah, put Charlotte Flair in there because it's War
Charlotte
Games.
Flair,
you know,
Bianca Belair, Asuka,
and Shotzi. Shotzi. Yeah. Charlotte, Bianca, Asuka, and Shotzi versus Iyo, Kairi, Bayley, and Dakota. That sounds like a War Games match to me. Yes. I'm not even going to let you. Yeah. But in any case, 3. I don't know how to rate this match, dude. I don't know how to rate it.
I'm going to give it 3 stars. Also, it did not help that the crowd gave a 0 reaction to Kairi Sane's return.
Oh, God, that made me so sad, dude. Like, they didn't react to her until she turned around and the camera caught her face. And the crowd was kind of like, wait, who is this?
There is something I've had to realize, especially this year. Okay, let's rewind back to like 2017, 2018, where indie wrestling was like, everybody knew everyone from indie wrestling. So when guys like Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura were all making their way to WWE, everybody knew who they were, and we were super excited, and they popped for all those guys. You know, fast forward to now, the casual fan, I feel like indie wrestling has kind of died down a little, so the casual fan is not going to know. You know, 3 years is a long time. They may not remember who Kairi Sane is. They don't remember Tegan Knox. They don't know who Dragon Lee is. Not every fan is an AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan smart, so reintroducing them back to the audience is going to take some time.
Mm-hmm. And
they didn't remember. It sucks to say this too, but not all these casual fans knew who Johnny Gargano was and the great feud he had with Tommaso Ciampa. So they got to rebuild these guys. You can't just focus. You can't just rely on, hey, they're back. You don't know who they are. Well, too bad. You need to like these people. Triple H needs to start rebuilding.
Yeah, and I think he's doing a good job of it. And with the way he's rebuilding DIY on Monday Night Raw, I mean, I have every faith in the world that he can rebuild Kairi Sane to superstardom on SmackDown. So,
and putting her in Damage Control, I think was the smart call.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a different different look for her because I'm so used to her coming out with the ship wheel as part of her entrance, and that kind of added to her charm. That's true. I don't think she ever came out with the pirate wheel when she was with the Kabuki Warriors, but I'm excited.
Maybe not. I'm gonna have to double check.
No, I'm excited.
I remember watching the Kabukis live win those tag team titles.
Yeah. Remember when the women's tag team titles were actually, relevant? But okay, speaking of tag team,
because they never were.
Yeah, speaking of tag team titles, here we go. This is an interesting one-on-one contest. It's the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, going one-on-one with the Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest, Senor Money in the Bank. How do we
get
here?
One half of the WWE Tag Team Champions because
yes, I was just getting to that.
Regain the tag team titles.
Yes, 8 days after Cody and Main Event Jay won them at Fastlane, which is not a yeetable moment. I will tell you that much.
Which they still defended 3 times in those 8 days. Can you believe that?
Yeet.
2 nights. 2 nights after winning the titles, they defended against Cammy. I almost fused their name. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You swear I was drunk like Jey Uso. That's Friday on SmackDown. They successfully defended against Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And then the Monday after, they lose them back to the Judgment Day.
They sure do. The Judgment Day cheats to regain the championships. Jimmy Uso interferes and costs his brother.
Not good because he's on SmackDown.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, it's a very simple promo that he cuts to challenge Damian Priest to a contest here at Crown Jewel. Damian Priest hit Cody with a low blow and a razor's edge through the announce table to eliminate Cody from that tag title match. And here we are. Cody is still over like Rover with this crowd. I am so happy to see. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what was bugging me?
What's
Over
that?
The past couple weeks, hearing people say there should be something on the line. They should put the briefcase on the line. And I'm like,
no.
The briefcase is not a title. And in Triple H's WWE, he's not going to treat it like a title.
Well, and how many times...
If you win the briefcase, it's your fucking briefcase.
How many times have you seen the Mr. Money in the Bank holder go into a one-on-one match like this and go on to lose and still look pretty strong in defeat? You know, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins at Mania 31. Perfect example. Seth Rollins went in there, lost, and then cashed in at the end of the night in the main event. Damian Priest, you know, he lost this match, spoiler alert, because Cody Rhodes doesn't lose unless your name is Roman Reigns. But, like, Damian Priest is just, he's still, like, he's not going anywhere for a long time.
It's okay to have a match that has nothing on the line. It's okay.
It's okay to have a grudge match every once in a while. Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. That's what this was. And this was a very good match.
Did you implode after the match was over? No. You'll be okay.
I was like, I didn't implode because I saw a very good match. It was my second favorite match on the show, believe it or not.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Crowd was definitely alive for it.
Oh, yeah, because Cody came out.
Clicked very well.
Cody came out and... No, I thought they clicked really well. I thought they had a
That's what I said. I said they clicked very well.
I thought you said they didn't click well. I was like,
they clicked very well.
I apologize. And I misheard you.
They had, it's okay, a little story weaving in that I didn't think they were going to pull out on Raw the past week. Damian Priest, remember, if you remember these things from a couple years ago before Cody Rhodes came back to WWE, Damian Priest used a version of the Crossroads called The Reckoning that was also called the Hit the Lights. And when Damian Priest hit that, Michael Cole reminded the crowd that, he used to use that move. He used to call it the Reckoning. That was a shot at Cody Rhodes. And they were like kind of dueling their finishers against each other, which I thought was really cool.
So Damian Priest...
The only reason he called it Hit the Lights is because they had fucking Retribution and one of the members was named Reckoning. So they had to change the name of the finisher again. And I thought Hit the Lights was a better name for that finisher.
Yeah, well, Damian Priest, anyway, it's weird because he doesn't hit the lights or Reckoning in this match. He takes Cody Rhodes to the announce table and he hits him with Cody's own move on the announce table, the Crossroads.
He does hit the lights.
He hit the Crossroads. It's the same move.
Hit the lights.
Anyways,
it's a good finisher.
It is a good finisher. I mean, he just stole Cody's finisher, but he throws him back.
QT Marshall stole the Diamond Cutter.
Yep. I hope QT's not watching this. He better not. You better wish he's not watching this. But in any case,
what's he gonna do? He's gonna come up to me and say he's not wearing any pants.
He's like Randy Orton. Yeah. They told
like how he stole his finisher?
Yeah, they did
not steal his finisher.
Anyways,
why can't you get your own finisher? I do have my own finisher.
Cody and Damian Priest go in there. Damian Priest should have gotten his own finisher for this. He does hit Cody with a beautiful looking modified choke slam in there. I think he calls it the South Side of Heaven, but nah, there's no way.
Yes, that's what it is called.
Yeah. I'm just fucking with Tomas. I know what it's called. But anyway, Cody Rhodes is starting to make his fiery babyface comeback. He hits a super Cody cutter off the top rope.
Speaking of move names, I have a bone to pick with WWE. Why? I don't care. I'm still calling it the Beautiful Disaster because that's a cool name for a move.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot cooler than Disaster Kick.
Yeah.
Come on. You don't have to have a gimmick to call it the Beautiful Disaster. Love that name.
No, yeah, it is a beautiful disaster, but okay, here's where the interference starts coming in, and this is where the match kind of becomes a little bit too chaotic for its own good.
It was annoying here because I feel like the Judgment Day interference was just there because they feel like they need to involve them in every single Judgment Day match. I get it. They're a pack of wolves, but at the same time, what if Priest one night just said, like, guys, let me handle this on my own? And I feel like this was one of those nights.
But Finn Balor runs down to the ring anyway to start to distract Cody. Damian Priest then gets the upper hand. Finn calls to the back, and there's Dirty Dom with a steel chair. Cody also fights off JD McDonagh in the ruffle. But then main event,
or does JD McDonagh just always appear the fuck out of nowhere?
It's like he's the second coming of Undertaker, just appearing out of nowhere. But
yeah.
So Cody is he's down for the count. Damian Priest wants Dirty Dom to bring the steel chair into the ring. But here comes Jey Uso. Speaking of coming in out of nowhere, he intercepts Dirty Dom, hits him with a sumo kick, and he chases.
How did he get past customs?
No, hey, that's Jimmy. But he basically.
How did Jimmy make it past customs? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Jey Uso did not do a damn thing wrong, but we'll get to Jimmy. Don't worry. But basically, Jey Uso chases off all other 3 Judgment Day members off by himself. Like, there's no Sami. I don't think Sami Zayn came out for this, did he?
Oh, Sami Zayn wasn't going to show his face. He has a briefcase.
Priest better hope Sami doesn't cash in that briefcase.
Well, Jey Uso did have a steel chair, so
he did. But again, like, wouldn't you think, like, if you're setting up War Games, which I believe is the reason why this whole interference angle actually went down, basically to show you it's going to be Priest, Finn, Dom, and JD against Cody, Jey Uso, Sami, and a partner of their choosing. And there's 2 options that we can get into before after we talk about this finish, rather. But Cody nails Damian. Yeah. So we'll get to him.
Just make sure we were on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Cody hits 3 crossroads in a row. I'm getting fucked up with names here. Crossroads, hit the lights, reckoning.
He hit the lights 3 times to get the finish.
They hit the lights 3 times, and that's how Cody got the win. This is a good 3 3/4 star match. I really enjoyed this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match.
I'll give it 3.5. I didn't think it was that good. It was still your standard Raw main event.
It was very good.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think it put over Damian Priest huge.
Well, the standard Raw main event is a very good main event nowadays with Triple H in charge. But we talked about War Games because they did announce that Survivor Series for the 2nd year in a row would have the War Games moniker, and I'm so excited for that. And this is the reason why Cody Rhodes has been fucking around with the Judgment Day since his feud with Brock Lesnar ended. It's because Cody Rhodes wants to do the War Games match at least one time in his career. That's the match his father invented, and I think he reserves every right to do that. So, with that said, Cody, Jey, and Sami are surefire shots to go in against all 4 Judgment Day members. But the 4th guy, Tomas brought up the name Randy Orton. And you know what? The rumors have been circulating, and I'm convinced that it's going to be Randy Orton because it would be very easy. It would be a huge cop-out for Sami Zayn to hop over to SmackDown and ask Kevin Owens for a favor. Because
that's what I was going to say. Because people are talking about, it's going to be a combination of Bloodline and Judgment Day. I'm like, I don't want that.
They do that.
I do not want that.
No.
Don't sit here. Don't fucking sit here and complain that you don't want brand warfare or Survivor Series, but you're okay with SmackDown and Raw guys intermingling for this. Guys, I know some people, it's very like a one-sided thing when it comes to this, but I know it's hard. But can we please have a solid brand split where the wrestlers stay on their shows?
Yes.
No matter fucking what. Maybe bust it out once a year like they used to do, like with WrestleMania 21 with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. But can we please, because both shows need their identities, and there is 0 point in sending Kevin Owens to SmackDown if he's just going to get right back into Raw business with the Judgment Day and all that.
Yeah, that's why I'm more and more convinced that it's going to be Randy Orton, because the rumors are saying that he is inching closer than ever to a return after taking extensive time off to recuperate from a back injury from April of 2022. We haven't seen Randy Orton since then. And who better to bring Randy Orton out from the ashes than his former protege, Cody Rhodes? Like, that is
really freaking awkward.
What?
When Randy Orton comes back into the company, he's like, yeah, all right, let's go. Hey, has anyone seen Matt? Riddle, where you at?
Oh, God, yeah. The tag team that never got its resolution, because speaking of people who never got their act together. But yeah, so keep the War Games at 4-on-4 this year. It doesn't need to be 5-on-5 like it was last year, but you could do War Games just like this, and you don't have to add anybody.
It's funny that you bring that up, because Michael Cole, even in the hype package for War Games, brought up this line that I thought was interesting. He said, over the years, the rules have changed, but the carnage has stayed the same. So I think that's an excellent point, how they can always tweak the rules to War Games, but it's still going to lead to the same thing.
Yeah. Like, the only thing missing is William Regal coming out to actually announce the stipulation, right?
Next year.
War Games! In bloody War Games!
At least Triple H he already has all of the past times he said he'll probably throw up a tweet.
Yeah.
Like he did that one time.
But, okay.
But yeah.
Up next, Tomas.
I feel like I'm in a time warp. I feel like it's every other month, it's like it's starting to feel like Groundhog Day.
Well, it's just a jump to the left and then a step to the right.
I wish it was, man. I really wish it was. Because I'm exhausted just thinking about this match. Mm-hmm. Roman Reigns is going one-on-one with LA Knight for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And how do I feel about this match going in? LA Knight has all the momentum in the world. He is the most over wrestler on the roster. I think they are booking him excellently.
Clearly.
I'm on the LA Knight train. But I just feel like they just prematurely hit the ceiling with him. And this is how you do it. You put him in the main event of a pay-per-view against an unbeatable world champion. And I'm not saying unbeatable because he's booked like a monster. I'm saying he's unbeatable because he's got that fucking creative bubble around him. And because WWE has no fucking plans to take the title off of this guy. Because you hear the rumors, you hear the dirt sheets, you hear Hogan's record, and you just don't know what to believe anymore.
No. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. Roman Reigns might just as well, like, he's already beaten Backlund's record, I believe, but he's not beaten Hogan's record. He's not going to get anywhere close to that because he's losing it at WrestleMania. He's going to lose it.
You said that last year.
He's going to do it this time, though. He's going to do it this time.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because it's a milestone WrestleMania. It's a multiple of 10 where momentous shit happens.
I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to feel hollow.
Well?
Because they did it too fucking late.
Well, I mean,
you consider what Roman Reigns has done since WrestleMania and how just irritating it is.
Well, let me just say this. I don't like, how do I put this? Let's just say that it was a foregone conclusion that Roman Reigns was retaining this title. As someone who adores LA Knight,
it's so exhausting. I'm exhausted. Like, I brought this point up a couple weeks ago. Wasn't Roman Reigns' title run a hell of a lot more fun when he was defending it every single pay-per-view against a different opponent?
Yep. And
now he's just
he got the
twice a year. Yeah.
He got the Brock Lesnar deal.
I am just so tired.
Yeah.
It's so exhausting.
Bottom of the third inning, my ass.
We're in extra innings.
Yeah.
We're in extra innings and half
we're done.
And went home.
Point is, we're done. We're done.
Yeah, it's just, and I just, with the LA Knight thing, it's like, I really, and I know, big fucking spoiler alert, Roman Reigns retains the title.
No shit.
But I just hope they do well with LA Knight going forward because, I just feel like if they would have saved this to like the Royal Rumble or something closer to Mania like that, it would have given LA Knight even more time to like develop and stuff like that. But it's just, now that it's done, it's like, what the fuck does LA Knight do now? They hit the ceiling with them.
They had a huge missed opportunity in this match to book something interesting, not just for LA Knight, but for somebody else who they've neglected on SmackDown for way too fucking long at this point, and it's really starting to irritate me. But in any case, Roman takes about, an hour and a half to walk to the ring after LA Knight gets a huge pop from the crowd. And they go in there and they have the standard Roman Reigns fare. I texted Tomas.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I did appreciate about this match?
What's that?
This match was 20 minutes long. You look at other Roman Reigns matches that have been borderline 35 to 40 minutes long. LA Knight, was not going to play the slow and methodical Roman Reigns game from the
No.
beginning. He went in there hot. He was hitting rapid offense like for the first 5 minutes of the match, and it was actually exciting to watch. I don't get who these people are saying that LA Knight is not a good wrestler, because he is. He's a damn good wrestler.
He was showing Roman Reigns whose game it was, and that was the story. And the build for this match, I will tell you this much, the promos that these two cut together, fucking fantastic. And I love Roman Reigns' entrance for the contract signing being interrupted by LA Knight, who doesn't even acknowledge Roman on the way down. Like, LA Knight, the moment is not too big for this guy, you know, because he's presented as the megastar. He's getting the opportunity of a lifetime. That's what's weird about his character, though. Even though he's like, you know, he's presented as like, oh man, like he's taking elements from The Rock and he's taking elements from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's presented as this megastar, but people are still kind of talking about his rough upbringing through the business, his rough upbringing as Eli Drake, his rough upbringing in NXT through a weird feud with Cameron Grimes for the $1 Million Championship. It's almost like WWE's trying to build an underdog out of a guy who is being presented as like an Apollo Creed. You know, you can't.
And it's like they even acknowledged Max Dupree. That took me by surprise.
Yep. Yes.
And you know, again, it's like they see the Bryan Danielson in him, like character-wise, which I think is great. You know, the yes movement, the yeah movement, the shit.
Yeah.
You know, the shit like wrote itself. And like, you know, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah, and my favorite part of this match, honestly, was Roman playing with the audience, who was chanting LA Knight the entire time. They were doing yas everywhere. And he was, it was funny because the audience was yaying while Roman was about to get some licks of offense in. Then he looks back at the crowd and he's telling them to be quiet. You know, like Roman does not want the audience to have fun. No. The yeah is fun. You know, next time Tomas tries to annoy me with the yeah chants, if we're like at an arcade together, I should just do what Roman did and be like, mm-mm.
And, you know, I feel like LA Knight really exposed, like, you know, Roman Reigns' offense as a character, because Roman Reigns likes to be in a slow, methodical control of his matches. But LA Knight kept the pace going that Roman Reigns wasn't able to do that a ton in this match. And I loved the build of the 3 separate attempts at the LA Knight elbow drop that got thwarted both times, and then he hit it on the 3rd try. Mm-hmm. Like there was some good storytelling in this match.
Yeah, there definitely was. But again, this is another match that was bogged down by bloodline interference. Solo Sikoa is halfway down the ramp. You have a bunch of agents. Shane Helms is there trying to hold him back, and LA Knight is distracted by this. Jimmy Uso gets into the mix. LA Knight nails Roman with the BFT. Jimmy puts Roman's foot on the bottom rope, which, remind me, in this same country, wasn't Jimmy Uso the guy to fire the first shot in the Bloodline Civil War? Mm-hmm. Why is he Roman Reigns' cock all of a sudden? Why? Like this, how did Jimmy get past customs to do this?
I know Jay is the main event guy. I know Jay was the one with the arc. But you think the role should have been reversed? If anyone was going to turn, it was going to be Jay.
Yeah.
It's just, you make such good points, and I agree with you. It's just...
They've really jumped the shark with this bloodline thing. It was phenomenal last year, but I'm like, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Let's move on to something new.
You don't know how badly I want to say that I agree with you, and they are just treading water to WrestleMania, but they were treading water last year. And it's just... I have so many issues with this because after this, spear through the barricade, spear in the ring, Roman Reigns retains. Big fucking whoop.
Oh my God,
big
dude.
surprise there.
They had...
It's the same copy and paste finish for every Roman Reigns match. And in the beginning, it was okay, but now I'm starting to get really fucking annoyed by it.
You know what would have made this match better for me? I'll tell you exactly how I would have booked this. LA Knight fights off both Bloodline members. Because if you're going to have LA Knight go into a foregone conclusion and lose, you got to have him look like a fucking strong, valiant babyface. The way they did it, he was just another victim. Victim. Why not have Roman Reigns just choke him out with the guillotine if you were going to do that? If you weren't going to have anybody else interfere? I actually, if if anybody was going to interfere, fucking put AJ Styles in there. How
just
do
to
you
help him fight off?
Answer me this though? How do you have the best wrestler in the world and you don't know what to do with him?
Kayfabe injured.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
AJ Styles, like,
and
LA
I know
Knight.
People are going to say, like, oh, yeah, he can go in there because the OC is going to have his back. No, he's fighting with the OC right now. And Luke Gallows is injured for real.
I'm not going to let this go, though. LA Knight has taken AJ Styles' spotlight away, not once, but twice. Because it was rumored that AJ was going to get this title shot on this show, which, again, would have been a foregone conclusion.
I wish it was.
Yeah.
Because LA Knight could have got the shot at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and AJ, AJ and Roman could have had a good match, but I always feel like AJ and the OC have been better heels than they were as baby faces. AJ interfering, costing LA Knight the championship after a ref bump, that would have effectively turned AJ heel. We could have gotten LA versus AJ at Survivor Series, and boom, you have a great program for LA Knight for a while. It's...
And guess what the real fucking kicker is?
What's
Roman
that?
Reigns ain't gonna be at Survivor Series.
No, he's not coming back until the Rumble. I'm so sick of this shit, guys. Like, I really am.
I am too.
I
so badly want to believe you that's all over WrestleMania, but we said that last year, and here the fuck we are.
There's only one reason why not Hulk. Why am I saying Hulk Hogan? There's only one reason why Roman won last year. Was to get him to fucking 1,000 days. He won for a statistic and not for the story. And anybody who tells me otherwise that, oh, Zack, you were just heartbroken sitting in the stadium. You wish you could have seen Cody win. Yeah, I still do. I still do. Do you, Tomas will tell you, how crestfallen I was and heartbroken I was that Cody didn't get the job done.
I mean, I bet people don't realize the reason I didn't see the rubber chicken is because I was staring at the ground for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was fucking depressed, man.
It's just, I don't know what to say anymore. And it's crazy. Think of the last Saudi Arabia show we reviewed and how, our teeth were sunken into this storyline with the Usos.
And now we're sick of it.
Roman Reigns. And now it's just like...
And now we're sick of it. Honestly, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam could not have had the title involved. Like, you did not need to keep the title on Roman Reigns for this long. And
I had faith. I defended the decision for Roman Reigns to win at WrestleMania because of this storyline. But when it died at SummerSlam, now I'm just like, what's the fucking point? And then Roman Reigns got injured at SummerSlam.
For stats.
It's just... I remember...
Why are you more concerned with padding Roman Reigns' stats than actually telling a story? Like, that's my question. That is all I'm wondering. Yeah, the Bloodline storyline has officially jumped the shark. I can tell you guys that much. But
it is starting to enter NWO territory.
Yeah. Jey Uso is going to start leading a Bloodline wolf pack against the actual Roman Reigns Bloodline. Yeah, you wish.
And Cody Rhodes is going to be part of it. Sami Zayn is going to be a part of it.
Sami Zayn is going to be a part of the wolf pack Bloodline.
Can you imagine, like, Cody Rhodes sporting the Sting face paint?
No. Could you imagine Jey Uso sporting his old face paint from 2013?
Don't give Paul Heyman any ideas. Oh, God, I'm a third inning my ass.
Don't give Triple H any ideas. I don't think Triple H is that stupid, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past them at this point because
bottom of the third inning. We're in the bottom of the 14th inning.
I'm sick of it. Let us know down in the comments if you think the Bloodline storyline has jumped the shark. But
this show gets a 6.7 out of 10. 6.75 out of 10. Solid night of wrestling, but just it was solid, but nothing as great as we've seen earlier before. And again, I didn't think this Bloodline storyline was pissing me off as much as it did.
Yeah,
I just want something different.
I was teetering on 7 And I think I still am going to give it a 7 because I still think it was a solid night of pro wrestling, and this is nowhere near a bad show. Oh, by the way, the Roman Reigns LA Knight main event, I'm probably going to give it 3.5 just based off of the...
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 now. I was going to give it 3 3/4 because I was enjoying it, but just the ending just deflated. Deflating.
You know what would have given it 3 3/4 is a different ending other than fucking bloodline interference. Like AJ Styles interference. Give him something to do, please. Like, that is all I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking for at this point. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. That would be a huge, huge help. Yeah. Next up, oh, man, dude, I'm exhausted. Next up, what do we got? One Night Stand, ECW One Night Stand 05, I think is next up. But...
Vengeance 2005 and AEW Full Gear coming up in a couple of weeks. Time to head back into Tony Khan land. And see what that crazy nut job is up to.
Let's see what Tony Frosty the Snowman is up to. But
he has an important announcement next week. He's going to tell us all that he just saved 15% on his car insurance by switching to Geico.
Yikes. This important announcement is actually a sponsorship. Oh, yeah, and Roman Reigns is going to return that same week and drop a sponsorship for stupid Pizza Hut. But anyway.
Yeah, and then... Yeah.
This is really falling off a cliff, guys. Thank you so much again for tuning in and commence that back talk. Let us know what you thought of Crown Jewel. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.